Okay, well, Rabbi, keep a name and start.
How do I, wait, guys, how do I go live on our,
is that Wilson? Oh gosh, 1 second.
Okay, that's okay, Daniel will answer.
So this is the problem we're having. You can't go live on multiple platforms, like on
that's okay. Can I share? Can you guys send me the
so
link?
Afterwards we can send the video and post it on.
Oh, only afterwards?
Yeah, it's Instagram doesn't like where on Facebook you can share.
Right. Yeah. Right. So let's do it on Facebook.
Yeah. So Facebook we can here.
Okay. So I need to go to my page, right? ClubZ page.
Or yeah. Let's see. I don't think Akiva actually went live just yet on Facebook, but
it's about to go live. Here, it is live on Facebook now.
Okay.
So everyone can hear us, and that's all they're seeing.
Everyone can hear us. That's true. Okay, so Masha, on the Schmooze page where Akiva went live, you can just hit share, like you would share any other video.
Okay, so can you guys send me the link to the Schmooze page, or what do I call
it? Yeah, of course.
Schmooze Akiva Naiman?
Akiva, I wonder if there's a way for you to mute in the meantime, like mute on Lula.
I like it.
Already. Wow, I have so many screens open. It's insane.
There you go.
So Daniel, are we live on all 3 platforms right now? Daniel, can you hear me?
I was muted, no worries.
Sounds good.
Let's do a caption. And 4 minutes till the Schmooze is live. Well, we're already live, but.
Right, but so people can see. So we can mute ourselves. Okay. It is now. So Daniel, is my Instagram live and my Facebook and your Facebook?
Yeah, your Instagram's live. You're not on your personal Facebook.
I just did that. I just did it a second ago. It should be up anymore. Okay. And Masha, you're good with ClubZ?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to share.
Yeah, and Daniel, YouTube is live.
YouTube, I'm checking. I didn't get the notification.
Okay. Whew. I think we're good though.
So who is going to be monitoring the questions? Are there questions?
Now that we're set, yeah, we're the questions that we set you, and we'll both be.
Okay.
I'm going to start. Well, really, don't forget the first few minutes.
I'm on, right? The first.
Yeah, correct. You're not on for the first few minutes.
Oh, great.
So
do you want to leave, or you have the capability of adding people?
I'll put you in the waiting room. Actually, is that okay?
Yeah, no, of course.
Perfect. So I'm going to do that now. You're set, Masha? Right. You're not on for the first few minutes.
Okay. Remember?
Yeah.
If you need to change the thing in formatting, so it's fine. It's fine. We can probably change it after.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The title of our Schmooze on YouTube is "I'm live via Lula."
Oh, yeah, you can change it afterwards.
I'm gonna change it now.
Oh, nice. And can we do sponsored by ClubZ? Okay, hi everyone. We're about a minute early, but you got here early, so you can enjoy this really exciting Word document I just typed up. It says the Schmooze will start at 6 p.m.
Wow.
Yes.
That's so exciting.
It's exciting. We'll be on live in 2 minutes.
I'm not going to lie. I hate technology.
Okay, but don't forget, everyone on technology is listening, and they might be offended.
Really? People have that close of a relationship with technology? Let's be honest.
We all live and breathe technology during COVID 2019/COVID-19.
Wouldn't you think that fuels the hatred?
Wait a second. Is COVID-19 now COVID-20 because it's 2020?
You would think, and that's kind of the point, but it was started in 2019, so that name kind of sticks.
Just saying.
What are you saying exactly?
Something about COVID.
Okay. You and everybody else.
Either COVID or elections. Not that we're talking about either of those today.
Honestly, though, it's so easy.
Low key, I didn't eat supper.
I don't think that's what I was talking about.
No, but my mind jumped.
Okay.
Is YouTube working?
Yeah, it's working.
Hooray.
For all 3 subscribers on YouTube, and you and I are 2 of them.
Well, my grandmother is on YouTube right now.
No way.
Waiting for it to start, bro. So there's real people there.
I mean, person. There's one real person.
Okay. Person.
Okay, we're just going to get our, whatever. 8:59, Akiva. Don't be nervous.
We have 1 minute. We are on time every time.
Was that true the last time?
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
Also, just for the record, when you say it's the Schmooze is live at 6, it's 9 p.m. here.
Oh yeah, good point.
Right. Only slightly worth pointing out.
It was slightly.
Okay, it is 9 o'clock my time, which means it's 6 o'clock your time.
Let's go. Okay.
That's Schmooze.
Stop share. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Schmooze.
So exciting.
Take it away, Daniel.
Oh, thank you so much, Akiva. Welcome back to the Schmooze. I'm Daniel Geller. That's Akiva Naaman, Rabbi Akiva, as he is so well known all throughout, really, the world. And this is where we talk about exciting ideas, new challenges and opportunities, innovations, all amazing things worth talking about during the time that we live in our communities and outside of our communities. And we are so excited to welcome our guest who will be on with us in just a couple of minutes, Masha Merkulova. I'm sorry, I don't say it with a Russian accent, but Masha will be joining us. She's also in California at this time, but a tremendous innovator who started a great organization, which we're going to hear more about. But before that, we would like to thank ClubZ Zionism for Teens, for sponsoring tonight's Schmooze, whereas we get to talk about really important things, and hopefully it'll shed some light into what ClubZ is. Akiva, why don't you tell us a little bit, what is ClubZ? What's your experience with them? Why do they have anything to do with the Schmooze?
Well, that's a great question. We're really going to hear more about that very soon. Masha and I go way back. She runs the ClubZ over here. She's the founder, and she's going to tell you more about that in Northern California. And we're both pro-Israel, unabashedly, unapologetically pro-Israel, and that's really why we felt like when Daniel and I were starting to think about starting the Schmooze, it was really the first name that came to mind. Sorry, the other 7 billion people on Earth, but that is the first person that came to mind. I'm like, we have to have ClubZ on as the first sponsor, and we're going to hear more from her soon. We also know, obviously, that unless you live under a rock, the elections are happening right now.
Even if you live under a rock.
Even
you get that news.
Like, you really I don't know where you're living if you didn't know that the elections are happening right now. We are now on to day 2 of the elections, because in America, we keep 2-day Yom Tov. And so just out of doubt, we're doing a second day of elections, to all the Jewish listeners out there. And yeah, so it's really, really exciting. We're not going to talk about that today. We'll probably talk about that more next week, when hopefully there's a little bit more clarity. We had some interesting articles that have come our way. Daniel, why don't you share some of them with us?
I'm not allowed to share the election ones, right?
No, we said no.
We're staying with that
this time.
Okay.
Well, specific to the elections.
Okay, fine. Well, sure. Kind of tying my hands here. I found on Israel 21C is a website I frequent because it focuses on the good news about Israel. And maybe we'll talk more about their organization another week. But I love seeing good news about Israel because it's so easy reading just about every other paper to see the not so great news happening in Israel. So I stumbled upon one article in particular talking about a massive beach cleanup. And beach cleanups aren't really anything new. Like they're all the rage because they're COVID friendly. You don't need to really
I hadn't thought of
travel too far. But this particular thing, only in Israel do we want to set a world record for the largest beach cleanup. So 18,000 people picked up 62 tons of trash.
Wow.
And not to tie this back into the election, but how amazing is it? I'm really trying.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Just hold on. How amazing is it on both sides? This is not a partisan comment that you can mobilize so many people towards any one mission these days.
Fair.
Okay.
You passed. You're okay.
So how amazing is that all these people can come together for something that's valuable? We want clean beaches. We care about where we live, our environment. And Akiva, like when you think about movements that start, obviously many of them have taken over the news cycle. But
right.
I initially thought of like Judaism. Mostly because we're gracious, and that's really, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're pretty all right. Made quite a name for ourselves, even though we're such an insignificant part of the population, although rather significant part of the population.
Did you know, to the listeners out there, that almost a quarter of Nobel laureates are Jewish? I feel like it's pretty widely known nowadays. It's still pretty amazing. Talk about a movement. I mean, I think that in the idea of a movement, if you've ever seen this, Dana and I were watching this recently. Go on YouTube and look up, not right now because you're listening to the schmooze, but go on YouTube and look up leadership from a dancing guy. And
that's not this. That is this. It's
totally this. It's a guy who's dancing all alone on a beach, which he may have even gone on later to clean up. And he's dancing all alone. And then people just start joining him, and he starts this movement of hundreds of people dancing with him. In the video, you'll see it's a 3-minute clip. He's dancing alone for like 20 seconds. I've watched a whole half-hour footage. He's dancing alone for half hour. Yeah, I don't know why, but I did.
Okay, all right. You knew that was my follow-up question.
I skimmed through it to see if it ever, when it picked up. But starting a movement, it's not so easy, and it starts with one person having a vision. It's a person saying, like, I see how the world is now, and I'm envisioning it better. I'm envisioning it different. I'm envisioning it with more goodness in it, whatever it is your vision might be. The difficult part, of course, is getting others to see that vision. Even more difficult, getting them to act on that vision. And to get 18,000 Chai Elef people picking up trash. How much is a ton? Isn't that 2,000 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is 62 tons in pounds? Don't answer.
I didn't know they taught that in Israel.
Put it in the comments. 62 tons of garbage.
There like honestly, only in Israel, and that's definitely a line we say quite a bit. But so many of these things are only in Israel moments.
Yeah.
Not to take.
I visited the Kotel, which is an only in Israel moment.
Okay, I'm sure we can list quite a few of those. Thank you, thank you, Rabbi Akiva. And it's really amazing that we get to do these like focal points on community and leadership, and that's really what the point of the schmooze is. Opening our eyes to amazing things happening in our community. So, Akiva, I do think that is a great segue. Not that I
love segues. Oh, you're talking about something else, aren't you?
Yeah, the other type of segue. I like this segue way better than the other one, but I'm not really the active type.
Fantastic. So let's welcome our guest speaker and sponsor for today's schmooze, Masha Merkulova, head founder of ClubZ, and honestly, just an incredible person. Hello, Masha, and welcome.
The other type of segue. I like this segue way better than the other one. Not really the active.
Masha, I think your volume is fantastic. So let's welcome our guest.
We're watching it on a different platform, which is
there
awesome.
We go. This is what happens when we are streaming on
so many platforms.
We are on Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, on 4 different platforms on Facebook and Instagram, because that's just how we roll here at the Schmooze. Welcome, Masha. Can you hear us? Are we good?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
We got you. Thank you so much for coming.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
We are so excited. Honestly, this is just amazing. Here we go. We could just sit here smiling from the excitement instead. Who needs to talk? But we all need a schmooze. So, Masha, can you tell our listeners out there, and I see we have quite a few right now, tell us what is your background? Why did you decide to start ClubZ? What is ClubZ about? Like, what was the vision? What guided you? We're talking right before you came on about starting a movement. What drove you to start this movement called ClubZ?
It actually started very simply. I realized after work, I was volunteering for a very small pro-Israel organization here in the Bay Area. and we worked with students at basically 3 campuses: UC Berkeley, Stanford, UC Santa Cruz. And what I realized is that these kids, Jewish kids who have received Jewish education, are very passionate. They want to do something about all the anti-Semitism that is happening on campuses. However, they know very little history. They don't understand the context of the Arab-Israeli conflict, and they feel very alone. And then I came across a friend of family, a young boy who was in 10th grade, who stood up to his teacher at school, and he was ostracized. And really, it completely colored his high school experience. And I thought, I felt really bad for him. And I'm like, I don't think kids should go through this alone, A, in high schools. B, we're sending them into a very hostile situation on college campuses. We're sending them to war, and we're not preparing them. So with my healthcare medical background, I'm like, why can't we just prepare them ahead of time? Why can't we A, vaccinate them? Meaning we're losing kids to anti-Israel movements. All of the anti-Israel movements that are started have been started basically in the Bay Area by Jewish kids, passionate, well immersed in the Jewish communal life. And yet, why are they starting anti-Israel movements? Because what they're seeing in their schools, what they're being taught is the cherry tomato version of Israel, meaning how great it is. It's an innovation nation. We planted more trees. Yes to all of that. However, that's not the conversation that they're having in their classes and on their campuses. And why not just help them, help ourselves, and just give them the facts, give them the tools that they need. And so that's basically how ClubZ was started. It was meant to be a one-time thing, but then kids keep coming. So I left my beloved career. I spent 17 years birthing babies. I was a labor delivery nurse.
Wow, that's quite the career
People
change.
don't know that, Masha. Masha, people don't know that about you. We need to spread the word about that.
I went from hormonal women to hormonal teenagers.
Now the real question is, which is worse?
Teenagers.
You heard it here first, people. Daniel, what? I mean, this is just amazing, Masha.
On so many levels. Masha, like everything you're doing speaks to me, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of into Israel, slightly. It's a little bit, and I think your analysis is spot on, because when in my travels, I definitely meet the kids where it's like, what is Israel? It's the cherry tomato. It's the USB flash drive. And then when kids say like, oh, but did you know you're responsible for apartheid? It's like, yeah, but have you tasted our cherry tomatoes? So it doesn't really play out so well. I'm curious, like I want to zoom in onto a particular event that was really big in the news, and I know your organization covered it deeply. At San Francisco University,
Right.
San Francisco State University, there was a lot of controversy going on over the invitation for a convicted terrorist. I know we throw around the word terrorist like quite easily today in like 2020 America, but like actually somebody who hijacked a plane, coming to speak to students. So twice. Right. Amazing point.
I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, Akiva, don't you know the Schmooze is an educational platform?
That's why I come.
So, Masha, I want to hear from your perspective. What happened here? Why does the university think that this is at all acceptable to begin with? And then what your organization did, how you empowered an entire movement to really speak out against this, and where we stand now.
So I'm going to take 30 seconds and preface this with San Francisco State University is the spawn of evil when it comes to being Jewish. It is the birthplace of SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine. It's where it was born 30 years ago. It is the birthplace of the extremely horrible ethnic studies model curriculum. It is the birthplace of they're just spitting out anti-Israel educators, professors. It's much worse than Berkeley, Columbia, all of them combined. My history with San Francisco State University goes back a few years when I was a plaintiff in a lawsuit when Nir Barkat, who was then mayor of Jerusalem, he tried to speak. The university did not provide a platform for him to speak. He got shut down by the students, the anti-Israel organization there, GUPS. And so that was all in the background. And then what happens, COVID happens, all of a sudden people decided we could bring anybody to anywhere via Zoom, via video platform. So that same department that birthed all these movements have decided to bring Layla Khaled, two-time terrorist. So Akiva, she hijacks an airplane, gets away.
That one I knew.
Gets away with it, decides to do it again. But before she could do it again, she knew that her face was all over, Israeli security forces. So she goes under knife. She has 6 plastic surgeries to alter her face so she doesn't get recognized.
What?
Yes.
It's commitment. It's commitment, Akiva.
This is
commitment to the wrong thing.
This is commitment, people. So she hijacked the other airplane, and that's where she is unsuccessful, thankfully, to the Israeli pilot. So she served time. Then she was released. She served time in British prisons. She was released, I think, in a prisoner's exchange. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So the thing is, she sits in Amman, Jordan. She is a persona non grata to any civilized country. So even without COVID, she would not have been able to come and speak to the American students.
Right.
But all of a sudden, it's open classroom. Let's bring a terrorist. Why don't we bring Osama bin Laden, for crying out loud? Let's bring him from the dead. So
that's crazy.
So
what did you guys do? What did ClubZ do when this was all happening?
So the Jewish community decided to do what we do best, which is write strongly worded letters, petitions.
Mobilize. We mobilize.
We mobilize to write really well. That we do know how to do well. And at the same time, we were at the birth of a movement called End Jew Hatred. End Jew Hatred is a very simple idea, and that is, we want as many organizations to join us with one message. There's one message, and it is to end Jew hatred. We don't call it anti-Semitism because anti-Semitism is a clinical word. Real word is Jew hatred. So we had a rally in Los Angeles before that because of USC issues. And then we were thinking, how do we take this on? But we need to think outside the box. Strongly worded letters don't work.
Right.
Testing at the university is not going to work because the university is supporting it. Right?
Right.
Now, I am a strong believer in First Amendment. I believe more speech is great. At the same time, we need to do what works. And what works is putting pressure on private corporations who don't want bad publicity and who don't want to be sued. So Lawfare Project, ClubZ, Yad Yamin, and a couple of other very small, very grassroots organizations got together and we wrote a letter to Zoom Corporation. We said, listen, this is not okay. This is not okay morally, nor is that okay legally. Now, it took a couple of weeks to convince them.
Okay.
And 15 minutes before our protest was supposed to commence, they released a statement saying that they are going to be deplatforming later.
Wow.
So
I just got chills. Even though I knew the story, I just got chills again.
Correct. But imagine the kids who showed up to this protest. It was not a big protest, right? There were about 50 teens and a few parents who showed up. They will have that victory. Nobody can take it away. They will look back and say, we did this. We did this. We showed up. We spoke. By the way, we also contributed to economy. Zoom hired 2 security guards.
All right.
Hey, check that out.
There you go. We find all the silver linings in Paris speaking at universities.
And then the following day, these kids stayed on top of it, and we started reporting because they moved to Facebook,
right?
And then they moved to YouTube. We stayed on top of it. It was a whole day of very fun game of whack-a-mole, right? Where are they going to go in a pool?
Right.
Sit
TikTok,
there,
Instagram.
Report, comment. And nobody can take away. These are the kids who will go like, you know what? I won against Zoom. And I know the philosophical issues of that. Like, well, it's a private corporation. Why are they? You know what? At some point, we need to stop philosophizing. I don't know the English word.
That's the exact word.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
I'm Israeli.
Yeah, there
You're
you go.
from Russia. Dana, are you originally from America?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
I'm not
And
gonna
you
correct
know what,
it.
Masha?
It's not worth it. It's fine.
This is what I think. We started off with what is, ClubZ is out there, and it's an organization, ending Jew hatred. I was about to say, combating anti-Semitism, but Masha, I think you said very eloquently, we need stronger words when people are doing stronger things than hide. And no, it's anti-Zionism. It's just anti-Semitism. And anyways, no, this is hatred, and we're combating that. And I think what, for me as an outsider looking at ClubZ, what sets ClubZ apart, and yourself as well, Masha, is you're a woman of action, and you're an organization of action. You don't just sit by and write strong letters and have Zoom protests or even in-person protests. You do stuff and you get stuff done, and that's what I think sets ClubZ apart. For anyone tuning in right now, I see a few people just joined. This is the Schmooze, sponsored by ClubZ. We have the founder, Masha, over here. We're talking about action. On that topic, and I'm not sure if we'll have time for one more question after this, but you're an organization of action. You're a person of action. Is there ever a time for inaction? And here's my question. I had a teen yesterday, student yesterday, who had something horrific anti-Semitic happen to them online on social media. I have students who are constantly being bombarded with, you're a Nazi. Hitler forgot you. He should have taken care of you. We had a school up in Sacramento where someone carved a giant swastika in the baseball field. And I've got students who are somewhere between scared or uncomfortable, or they just don't know what to do. Should they be showing they're Jewish? Should they be hiding it?
They want to crawl into a hole.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like we have all these students who more and more, at least in Northern California, are feeling ashamed or scared or fearful or uncomfortable being proudly Jewish. What do you think they should do? Should they be taking action, or should they be taking inaction and hiding it?
So I don't know what I would have answered this 5 years ago, but okay. I can tell you things are not getting better by not taking action. Imagine what would happen if there is a noose. If people don't know, it's a hanging, right? It's a hanging thing.
Yeah.
It's extremely racist symbol. It's considered to be very, very, anti-Black symbol.
I did not know that.
If a noose was carved in or etched on somebody's locker, rightfully, a community will be up in arms. There will be news covering, there will be school assemblies. All of a sudden they will, realize, oh my God, we have a racism problem. When anti-Semitism happens, when Jew hatred happens, it gets clumped together with xenophobia. And I have not yet heard of a school who did a program specifically on anti-Semitism. They would do it on, xenophobia, no room for hate or something like that. No. If there's a homophobic incident, we need to address it. When there's a racist incident, we need to address it, not a general hate. When there's a Jew hatred incident, we need to address it. And to your point, Akiva, I think one of the things that we need to do is we need to start telling people that we're Jewish. Now, I'm not saying just start, waving our Israeli flag, which actually I do anyways. But bring it up in a conversation with your friends without them asking, right? Don't wait for a convenient moment. I'll give you an example. I'm in Trader Joe's. I have challah in my basket, and a woman approaches me and she asks me, "Oh, where's challah bread? Where's challah bread?" Right? Because to a non-Jew, it's CHALLA, right? It's challah.
Right.
And normally, I would have just said, "Oh, it's right over there." Now, if it happens, because it happens quite frequently, now I would be like, "It's actually challah. It's a Jewish tradition we eat this on Friday, and it's right over there." You don't have to scream it, but I think we need to start bringing up that we need to normalize being Jewish. Let's normalize Jews for a change.
So, Masha, I actually want to, thank you, well put. I actually want to jump on that a little bit deeper. Akiva's using his virtual abilities, so it's a very exciting day for all of us. But I want to jump in. When we talk about the future, it always feels like we're fighting an uphill battle. And for the Zoom thing, I think, was the only case in which like everyone celebrated, like we finally won, you know, like and like, what does that future look like? Yeah, what's that? Yeah.
By the way, Daniel, we're continuing to win with Zoom because Zoom now follows, and they already stopped Layla from speaking 2 or 3 other times.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's a tremendous testament to your work.
Win keeps winning.
It's exactly, it's the victories will grow as we start trying to do things outside of the box. Enough with strongly worded letters, just enough of working behind the scenes. You know what? If something happens, put it on social media. Don't be afraid.
Okay, so you're saying like we just need to be more vocal. That's our game plan. And will that lead to us winning, or is that gonna like? I have a feeling, this is a fear I have, that whenever we start being more vocal, the anti-Israel and the anti-Semites like community just gets stronger, you know. And I don't think we should hide who we are, because that doesn't work either. But we have seen this like for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, you know. So what is the future of that? It's Newton's law, Akiva. So what does that action look like for us in the future? And you know, when we're talking to 9th graders now about anti-Semitism on campus, what's that going to look like in 5 years when they arrive on college campus?
Unless they start taking action now, it's going to be even worse, because Jew hatred is being normalized. So one of the things that I heard is,
I think it already is normalized.
Right. So people would say, oh, why do you always make it about the Jews? I did not make it about the Jews. You did an anti-Semitic thing. You made it about the Jews, and I will call you out on it every single time. Listen, we are a very easy target. Let's make it harder to target us. Nobody's afraid. Like, when was the last time anybody was afraid to go to a Jewish neighborhood and, you know, or deface a synagogue, right? Because they know, like, oh, you know, there's a strongly worded letter. Enough.
Enough is enough.
No more strongly worded letters. We're done with it.
I think, okay, I mean, this is amazing, and it's inspiring, and it's finally someone, you know, for anyone who is pro-Israel or just anti-Semitism. Masha over here, who is a pro-Semitism. For the pro-Semites on the schmooze, listen to what Masha is telling us. Enough with the inaction. Enough with the pariv. No more pariv letters. It's time to go fleshik. It's time to stand up and be unapologetically Jewish and proud to be who we are. We're going to end with, we've got time for one more really quick question. We've got 1 more minute with you, Masha. ClubZ, everyone. And again, thank you for sponsoring and thank you for being on. If ClubZ got a $1 million donation tomorrow, it's not coming from me, by the way, or Daniel, but if ClubZ got a $1 million donation tomorrow, what would that look like? What is the dream? What's the $1 million dream?
It'll be more than 1 million.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
And here's something that I will tell you that probably
way past 1 million is what you're saying.
Right. I should not. I probably, as a head of ClubZ, I probably shouldn't be saying it. But my goal
on the call, 1 million is fine. Also.
Yes. My goal is not to grow ClubZ. My goal is to educate every Jewish teen. Jewish and Israel education and activism. We need to teach them how to be active. Should be part of Jewish family curriculum. You're sending Sam to SAT prep, you need to send them to ClubZ, you need to send them to NCSY, you need to send them to a reputable, I mean, I can guarantee you after ClubZ, they will know their stuff.
Yeah.
They need to know. So yes, to grow in ClubZ. We have big plans. We want to produce videos, we want to grow, we want to open new chapters. We are now in Charlotte, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Westchester, Bay Area, Los Angeles, Valley.
Oh.
So we're in a lot of places, and I want to have presence everywhere. And ultimately, I want every Jewish teen, however it is, get the education they need, the toolkit that they need. So listen, when we have 5,000 Jewish teens who hit campuses as freshmen, that's when Jew hatred will stop on campus. All you have to do is have the knowledge and the chutzpah to raise your hand and say, excuse me, what you're saying is completely wrong. That's it.
Wow. All right, you guys heard that? That's it. No excuse. ClubZ is everywhere around the country. You have no excuse not to join. Sorry, Daniel, what were you saying?
No, it's finally a refreshing voice to like stop making excuses. You know, that's our community. Like, it's okay. You know, like stay in the back of the class, don't raise your hand. And Masha comes out and he's like, no,
Let's go.
Hey.
We're fighting now. No more plausible deniability. Thank you, Masha, for being here, for coming. Again, ClubZ, everyone. The link to ClubZ will be in all of our many platforms, posted on all of our many platforms. Thank you, Masha.
Masha, thank you for joining.
Everyone else who's on. So last week we last week, if you recall, the question was, can you go seat hopping? That was the question. If you remember, you're at a baseball field, you bought a seat. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I just want to say that was just incredible. It was just great having her. I feel like we should have wrapped that up for a moment.
Also, we could have made this 3 hours long and it still would have been incredible.
I know. It's like, I feel like we only have half hour.
We do this all the time. We just, gosh, we got
to talk not on the schmooze, because I feel like we'd have great conversations, you and I. No? Too much? We're not there yet? Anyway, so if you're at a baseball field,
game.
you're at a baseball game, you bought the seat in the nosebleeds, it costs you $3, and you're halfway through the game, and you're looking, and there's seats right in front, and no one's sitting there. Are you allowed to go up? You didn't buy the ticket. Are you allowed to go and sit in a seat? What did you guys think? Thank you to everyone who sent in their answers. The answer is, from a Jewish standpoint, from a halachic standpoint, if you were to move to the seat next to you, let's say, for instance, let's say in the same row, and you're sitting there, and there's a guy in front of you, and he's like 6'9", and he's just taking up the whole view. Are you allowed to move one seat to the left? Yes, that's totally fine. However, to move to a seat that would be more expensive, a seat that's more of a VIP status or closer to the field that would have been a different price, the answer is that you are not allowed to do that for multiple reasons, really. It might be a form of stealing, because that's how the baseball, that's how MLB or NBA or whatever type of game you're at. That's how they make money, by selling more expensive seats.
Really how they make their money though? Like, let's be honest.
Alcohol ads. But I don't know how they make the money, because I was offered a position in the NBA, but I turned it down, obviously, for the schmooze. However, they did give me this jersey.
Wow. Who's that signed by? Is that your signature?
No, it's Omri Caspi's, actually.
Almost had it. You get mistaken for Omri Caspi all the time.
Often, because I'm Israeli. So, question for next week in the 30 seconds that we have left. Here's the question. You're at a supermarket. That's the question. Why are you at a supermarket? You should not be shopping. There's a pandemic. That's not the question. The question is, you're at a supermarket and you're paying with cash like a crazy person, or maybe you're in Israel, and then that's where we're always, because you don't use credit cards in Israel. Everything's cash in Israel. Point is, you're paying and you get your groceries. You leave. You already go home an hour away. That's the closest store to where you live, because you live on a farm, and you notice that the cashier gave you $1 extra in change. You were supposed to get $1 back. You got $2 back, or whatever it is. Are you obligated morally to go back to the store and give back the change? Answer in the comments or DM us. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's been great schmoozing with you.
What an unbelievable week for the schmooze. Plenty to schmooze about next week, as our election will, God willing, be done. And okay, you know what, you pessimist. That's because Israelis have 4 elections a year.
That's what I'm saying. America needs to know what it's like. At least another 2. At least. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's going to work out really well for all of us. Always a pleasure schmoozing with you, Akiva. Amazing week having Masha on. Thank you to ClubZ for their sponsorship and their amazing work that they do in the community. As Masha said, all over the country, really. And as they continue to expand, we only expect to see great things. Looking forward to next week. Next week with Noam Weissman. Very exciting. David. Let's go. If you don't know who that is, tune in next week. All righty.